All right, guys, here we are to talk about The Punisher, Season 1, Episode 6. And this starts off with some wonderful acting.
Oh my God, thank you. I have so much to say about this. Fuck.
So it opens up, and
Yes.
it's like a fake Thanksgiving Day celebration between his family and Micro's family. And when they come in to shoot it...
I wrote down in my notes, welcome home, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, like, the team of, like, like military assassins comes in, starts to shoot people, and just his scream.
No!
And they cut the audio out, and just like his face,
the silent screaming.
He's such a perfect facial expression actor.
I was so happy by this, honestly, because we had like an episode and a half, I think, total average together of like questionable coincidences and some drag racing and weird things, and like healing very quickly from car accidents that should have killed you, and weird little things where I'm like, all right, this show is fine still, but there's weird stuff. And something like this, like this is what I watch things for, stuff like this, like movies, television, web shorts, anime, like the stuff that you can do. Like imagine that scene like in a book. You'd be reading like, wait, it's Thanksgiving. What are you talking about, or whatever. No. I thought that it was so fucking brilliant that I'm now going to spend 20 minutes talking about it. No, like the scene opens up, if I remember correctly, and it's like it's like Micro's wife, and she says, "Oh, yeah, we need 4 of those." Right? And then you go, oh, maybe this is a flashback to that dinner that he missed. Yeah. And they're going to do that.
Or another dinner.
But then it cuts over and you see Micro. And you go, oh, well, maybe it's a flashback to when the 4 of them were a family back in the day. Then Frank's wife shows up. And then you're like, oh, shit, wait. But
maybe it's a flashback to it.
But you might not even recognize her. But then you know that it's like a thing. And it scrolls over and you see like the kids and all that stuff. Or like whatever the fuck. And you go, oh, okay. But you still haven't seen Frank. Then welcome home, Frank comes in and all that stuff. And it's all this happy, awesome, thing. And like Lieberman's like holding the wine and going and like making like jokes and his faces and stuff like he would back before everyone's lives were shattered and all that stuff. And Frank, you can tell, just feels like, oh, this is good or whatever.
Button-down shirt.
Like, wearing like a flannel, being like, yeah, it's great.
The part that was weird for me was like the daughter comes in with like a handprint turkey thing and like wiggles it like strangely close to his face. And I was like, the hell is that? And I'm like, he's a military man. He'd have caught that shit.
But yeah, then it becomes super dreams.
They start falling from the sky.
It's obviously been a dream since you see the dead people. But then, they're falling from the sky like snow or something like that. Then, like the military comes in, he's suddenly zip tied to like the chair or like whatever. So like. That's the whole theme of his like nightmares. Happy times shattered by like the military, like his past catching up with him, showing up and all that stuff.
Literally, yeah.
And he's helpless. When his wife gets killed, he's like, no! And he's too far away, it happens too fast, she gets shot right in front of him and all that stuff. And here, right, he's stuck to the chair. He like can't help them. And like worst of all, like as the military people are like filing in, like the family doesn't react, right? Like they can't see they can't see it coming. Only he knows the danger, but he's helpless to stop it, and he's forced to just it's just like right there. It like tells you all these like things. It like fills in the patterns of his nightmares and the fact like without having more sandwich scenes or more dialogue scenes, it shows that like now Lieberman and his family have like been added to Frank's.
He cares about them. They're in his circle.
He's like encompassing them into the thing. This was like a 90-second scene, but it was so like so efficient and so well done, and the acting so amazing. I loved every minute of it. Thank you.
When Micro gets shot and the blood hits him, that hit was great too. Yep. Like it looked good. Sometimes like those can be fake and just like not sold for me. That one I was like, red mist.
No, sometimes they look like it's like a spray that's constantly coming out. This had like a punctuated it hit him like a paintball explosion thing or something.
So that was
cool. Oh my God. No, so like right there, we've already like the overall score of this entire series like shoots up and becomes this amazing thing where I'm like, holy shit, thank you.
Another scene that really sold me. It was the back at the Lieberman's house. We have the son get confronted over stealing the skateboard, and he turns without a second's hesitation and punches his sister right in the face.
Right.
And I was like, that looked so real. That was such a great hit.
Yeah.
And just like Like, damn, man, just punched that bitch right in the face.
this little girl in the face. I love that whole scene too. The way she grabs him and he like struggles and then she grabs him again. That like parental and looks at him like what are you doing or whatever.
Are you a bully?
Oh, are you a bully? I know.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
That must be like, horrible. Just picture that. Like these people you've raised, you think you know better than anybody, and then like you finally realize you don't know them at all.
This is what you're all
they're
about.
an individual person and they're a bad person, and this is what you learn. Like
she says it later to Frank. Like each of her 2 kids is dealing with their life situation, and she feels bad, right? She feels like, well, maybe if I could compensate for their father's death in like a certain way, I could have like smoothed all this over. But I'm fucked up, and it's fucking them up. Oh God, right?
I'm gonna have another cup of wine.
Yeah, I'll have another bottle of wine about it, right? Ugh, fucking people and their emotions, dude.
And you finally saw the picture firsthand that the camera was in when the kid punches it and it cuts to the side. So I'm like, all right. Punching pictures now. Are they going to notice the camera?
I thought something was going to happen with them. I have no idea. Yeah, and like Frank saw that there were cameras, but they didn't make a big thing out of it, so I'm still not sure if he really didn't know. Or...
He definitely saw now, and for the first time looked into the camera, somehow knowing where the camera was, but he only heard the audio, so he didn't actually see the cameras.
I thought he looked from like the bed and could see it or something, right?
The angle didn't look like it was right for me.
Okay.
I thought he heard it, looked up, and was like, "Are you sick fuck?" Like just like him, like processing that.
Am I having a fever dream? I think that like ironically, like they're selling Punisher like a Captain America type of thing.
Yeah,
where, like,
I could see that.
He's enhanced in all these ways, and I feel like 3D spatial reasoning is like a necessary super skill for all of his other skills to work. So he must be able to just see footage and know about where the camera is, type of thing. But
if he actually saw the footage,
yeah, that's how I took it.
Or he's
I'm
like,
willing to believe that.
He's like, where would I put a camera?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it does look like, and it could not be that. Well, he looked directly in the camera.
I think, yeah, totally he did. And that was that moment where he was like, he went over there, he like pulled off the emotional bandages to like reveal the other infection in like Micro's family, and then shoots him that look. I hope you're watching this. Shit's like, we need to do something about this.
The problem is, for all the way he's talking and cryptically talking, because he can't say like your husband's alive. Yeah. It also could play as like, I'm gonna be that thing for your family. Like,
yeah,
it'd be really weird if like and I think it'll probably happen, when she makes like a pass at him, and Micro's watching, and he freaks out like, no, not me.
Oh, he'll be like, I didn't mean that. Like it's a sitcom. Like he's like, oh, I meant things will get better. Wink. Not things will get better. Because
wink.
Because yeah, yeah.
Now that'll happen. Or I don't know. There's a lot of directions this can go. Because I've said like we can't have that family necessarily around to continue the series, or we lose Micro, which could be interesting. Or we lose Micro. Micro could die, and he could take over this family, and then the next season they die again, and he has to kill someone else.
It's time to punish. Round 2. I don't know what they'll do with it. It's hard for me to read emotion on faces. So, like, I couldn't tell if Micro was like, oh my God, things are so bad with my family, or oh my God, Frank, what are you trying to move on my family?
That's how I took it.
Right, yeah.
And then, like things would happen and be like, okay, he's not denying. He's setting up for me. Okay. All right, I hate you.
Because he did like a thing where he grabs his face and shows like,
he
was very, because it's horrible to hear that. And again, oh God, this show might be so good because now he's on the other side of a camera and he's helpless to like help his family type of thing. God damn, we could do a whole fucking 3-hour dissertation on the symbology of this show.
It's definitely interesting and getting more interesting. So
I hope they don't have like a dumb conflict about it, unless something literally, like you're saying, like she makes a pass at him or something happens,
Just further into the drama world. So one of the things I hate more than anything is like these stolen valor motherfuckers who like,
oh my God,
say they were in the military and weren't. And that I loved seeing that guy who's been like this rebel rouser the whole time, wasn't actually even in like the military how he says he was. He was actually in the military. So but he's still stealing valor because he was saying he fought when he didn't fight.
I think this like controversial thing that I think that we both agree with, and let me know if you disagree. Have a lot of respect for people who've served, but I don't think everyone's automatically a hero on the same level. And the people that try to co-opt that that. Not that they should.
This is a great example of that, where it's like, okay, you served in Texas, not Vietnam. You don't get the same credit that a dude who fought in Vietnam gets.
It's not that there's competition between what each person did or what happened or like whatever, but yeah, there's a difference between.
And not that Vietnam was directly fighting for my freedom, but like what I mean is anyone who fought, put their lives on the line, deserves my respect and has my respect.
That's where
anybody who just because you're in the military doesn't mean anything. That's like just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're a good person. Like
and some
just because you fought doesn't mean you're a good person. But you stepped up.
You stepped up and you like risked no matter what happened, right? That's why the phrase is "thank you for your service," not "thanks for killing those people" or "thanks for being" or whatever. It's literally serving and like signing up for that thing that I would never do because that's not how my brain or my life works. So like I'm glad someone's doing it, and that's like my whole thing. But yeah, this motherfucker was fucking horrible, and just his like they were already like setting you up for this or something like that when he like pieces out when like the dude's getting arrested on the steps.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was fucking amazing.
And I have a witness.
Oh shit! And just him in the foreground, like fuck.
That cop, son of a bitch.
Are
you reaching for my gun? No, I'm not reaching for it. Get the fuck on the ground.
That, in terms of things that I like in movies and film and hate in real life, that's like the highest ratio, one of the highest ratios for me, is that thing. Like, what was it, Walking Tall? Where it's like, yeah, busted tail light. And he's like, officer, I don't know what you're... whoosh, and just like hits the thing, and you're like, oh my god, because cops could do that. It's like terrifying. You're like, oh shit. Yeah. It makes my blood boil and all that stuff.
Like, he approached this completely rationally. He knew the rules. He knew what he was doing. But you have this cop who was just a dick who was like, no, you should just be listening to whatever I say because I'm a cop. Yeah. That's not exactly how it works, sir. I see I have these rights, and
I know.
You're supposed to be enforcing them.
But he filled the role perfectly of being like a little sketchy, but also like they like... Not that it justifies the cop's horrible behavior, but they had him fill in, he hit major bullet points. I pay your salary, I'm going to quote, like, exact regulations and all this weird shit or something like that.
But knowing exact regulations is so valuable.
Of course, but a lot of times...
and they were in the right context. It wasn't like I am a civil union of America, and I'm like...
Right.
What's that stupid thing people say? They're like, I'm
not a citizen or
I'm
whatever.
not a citizen, I'm a sovereign, whatever.
I'm my own sovereign thing. No. I know that, and that's important too, that what he was saying was not bullshit, but that's like the typical conflict. Cops don't like when you say, I pay your salary, and technically we're not violating the like thing or whatever. Yeah. And cops do horrible things sometimes.
But that's
when you piss them off or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's so ridiculous because like you couldn't beat him with like the actual law, so you fucking sprinkle some crack on him and send him to jail.
Exactly. He had a gun.
And what is that even? What do you think that's even charged? Going to grab an officer's gun? Like I feel like that's a felony. Like
had to be bailed out. Yeah,
but like but had to be bailed out. Like a lot of things can have bail. I feel like that's like years of prison time trying to grab a cop's gun. That's attempted murder.
A lot of times that shit, because they can't prove it or because like whatever, they would just fuck with you, detain you, do whatever to you, and then be like, okay, we dropped the charges or something like that. It's even worse than you could possibly imagine.
And then it goes to murder. So now he's actually guilty of something. And I actually, like, in my head I'm like what is actually happening here? Because the other guy does draw the knife first. The other guy does slash him first. Now, to one stab, I'd say, nope, it was self-defense.
I know.
But he stabbed him a lot.
I know.
A lot.
And that was perfect, too. Because for a moment, you're like, okay, we're still okay, right? Let's be reasonable here. You just call the cops. You say, I'm at this apartment. I know this guy. You have all these witnesses that you know this guy and that you start hanging out with them more, right? And he did this and that. You got into this argument and he pulled a knife. See, look, he pulled a knife. This is real.
Yeah, he can say, I called him out on his bullshit. I said he wasn't in the thing. If you look in his pocket, he has a silver star. That's not his.
That's not his.
And yeah, he probably could have got away with it.
Curtis can testify. He can be like, whatever, this can be his thing. And then no, he just goes like crazy and all that stuff. But it's such a great payoff for this fucking whole side plot with this character.
I was trying to flash, like, what do I think this character is going to do now?
I don't know that.
I
know a lot of things. But
I had these thoughts earlier. I'm like, okay, well, he'll be in some secrets, like like Operation with Billy. No, I guess not. Okay, he'll be working with the Punisher. Maybe not.
Probably not.
I don't know. It could be anything, or he'll spend the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah, no, and I hope that the paths cross more than just with Curtis running the group or whatever. But I honestly don't know if it will or if it has to. Something's going to happen, right? He's going to go crazy. He's going to go off the grid. There's going to be a weird run-in or something like that. But I think that kid represents, right? Because the Punisher could be looked at as glorifying punishing and all that stuff.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah, and but this kid is like the counterpoint, and it's our window into like the other side of like having served or whatever the fuck, right? I like it. It's like
I like the character too, so I hate to see him spiral out of control.
I was gonna say, like, I hate repeatedly saying that everyone's a good actor in a show where actors act or something like that. But I really liked a lot of his because when he's talking to that cop, you can watch on his face how it's like coming off the rails or whatever. How he's like trying to make these arguments and all that stuff. Even like because once the cop says, "Did you grab my gun?" it's over. It's like fuck. You should just be like, "Whoa!" But he just goes, "No, I am not," and like tries to like keep the fucking thing on, and it's like this fucking thing. Like it's I love it.
Yeah. So we cut to like day 2 of the Sexons with Billy and
hold on. Madani, Billy, more sex fucking.
Yes.
I wrote down on my notes.
I thought that had an interesting look to it, like style-wise.
Very carefully chosen angles.
Well, yeah, it's like a weird diagonal, hand like this, covering you with goodness. And then her bandages aren't on anymore, obviously. Yeah. I guess you would have taken those off, maybe. Usually when someone bandages their ribs, it's because they have like broken ribs, and that doesn't heal.
Everyone's a superhero.
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't imagine why else they would bandage her. What else kind of injury would get you bandages?
That was the type of injury, but she's already healing or something like that, even though it's been 3 days. And the bandages
takes at least 6 weeks.
The bandages had to be on so that they wouldn't show her tits, and it was a good thing. Or whatever the fuck. I love that the carefully chosen angle theme continues all the way to him walking across the room and pissing, because you see him in the mirror and you see like 2 pubes, just like barely his crotch as he's like pissing, and then he comes back and you don't see him, there. Like it was very funny. It was like a sketch comedy thing where you somehow couldn't see all the bits or something like that. I liked it a lot. But he finds the folder on Frank, and does some...
Which is just out. You'd think as, like, a Homeland Security person, she has, like, a briefcase or something.
Yeah, I wondered if that was, like, intentional.
You think it's a tell? Yeah, like...
I don't know. He kind of calls her out for being, like, a bad liar, which I don't know if she's the best liar or, like actually a bad liar.
There are a lot of bad liars, but I found that scene really, really interesting, where I was like, all right. So in my head, I was like, when is this? Is this the next morning? Is this the next day? Like bring it together. I'm like, how long have they been together now? Multiple times?
She says 2 days in a row, but I don't know what that means. If those are
2 days in a row could be the night and the morning, or it could be 2 separate meetings.
If those are the first 2 days, or if they've just been fucking 1 day at a time up until now, but now he's slept over for the first time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But like they're potentially and at least a blossoming item, and
that's
a
little rocky with the
that's
Frank stuff coming up.
And now we have Frank on the radar.
But at the end of the fucking scene that you're talking about, he says they never found his body. I always found that interesting or whatever. And I was like, oh God, what's happening or something like that. And then he knows that he's alive or whatever the fuck. Right? It's this whole thing.
So. Let's just jump now to the end real quick.
Yeah, fucking A.
So Billy is a bad guy.
I know, I was so happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I was already coming around to the part. I'm like, okay, we're going to get some cool scene where it's going to be Billy and Frank back to back in like a warehouse shooting some people. And doubtful.
This was my pet theory that I was pushing or whatever the fuck. But like last episode, part of me was like, oh, it's been going on for like too long. I don't know. There were opportunities to weave in some more like darkness or whatever the fuck, but like we haven't done it yet. Maybe I just caught a whiff of something and it's not real. Who knows? Whatever the fuck. But then in this episode, from that first scene when he says they never found his body, I always found that interesting or whatever. And then when he goes and talks to Curtis. And is like, good shot to Frank, and fucking doing that stuff. That scene was like dark.
Yeah.
And so
it did seem like are you going to be killing Curtis? Like
while I was watching this episode, more and more I started to think, okay, either this is a straight up misdirection. And they like told the actor early, we want the audience to think that you're like bad, so weave in a little badness into your like shit, and then he's just good at doing that or something like that. Or same scenario, but he really is bad. So as the episode built, I kind of was hoping that it would get cleared up during this episode. And by the time he like talks to Frank, I was really leaning towards like, oh, this is just a misdirection where you think he might be doing whatever, but now he's like been all like intense, but to try to get to Frank to talk talk to him to try to help him, to be like,
Yeah.
hey, I get you a passport. I can get you, on a boat, on a plane, whatever, tonight. Back, overseas, doing what you do best. I got you both. We're gonna do this. But that even was this misdirect.
Yeah.
He was just trying to get him.
And whether Frank smelled it
Yeah.
or just was like, well, I'm not interested in leaving, it doesn't show up.
I know.
So Billy, the way we find out that he's bad is he's on the docks. He pulls a gun out, and it looks like he's gonna put it on top of the tire of a car or something, and then he just puts it on his side and gets into a car, and that's where Agent Orange is.
Ooh, girl.
And I was like, well, why does he have the gun in his hand when he meets with Agent Orange?
I don't know.
Maybe
Do you have a theory?
I don't know.
I never look at your face. I just turn my head to make it
Maybe
look
it's
like
a
I'm looking at your face.
misdirection of a misdirection.
He's not coming.
Maybe he is still good.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know.
I thought he took it out of his waist. Okay.
He did.
All right. That was my read. Was it would be uncomfortable to sit in this car with this gun behind my waistband. So I'm gonna take it out. Also showing the audience that I had a gun kind of hidden when I expected Frank to show up, possibly for reasons. And then I'm gonna pan over and show Agent Orange and say, okay, I'm a bad guy.
Maybe.
He might still. So you can even be.
I think there could be a Billy redeeming moment.
Yeah, no. You can even be all this can be the way that I'm taking it at face value, and then Billy can be like, no, not this time, not Frank.
Yeah.
No, man, no. Listen, he's right. We're and what we're doing is not okay, and this he can do that. That can be a thing.
When Frank was talking about the drugs, though, Billy's face did a little something that I was like, oh, Billy, I think you might have been with the drugs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I looked back on that moment only in my mind or whatever. Now, now thinking that he's bad, thinking oh, maybe he didn't know that it was to that level. Maybe packing corpses with heroin crossed the line, and he knew they were doing dirty, bad shit, but they were doing that, and that's too much or whatever.
No, I took it as him waiting to see is Frank gonna pull a gun right now and say, I know you were in on it.
Ooh, girl.
But
okay.
Then I was like, am I reading in too much?
I almost want to rewatch some of these episodes to be all this facial acting. Who's lying? Who knows who's lying? Who said did he know Curtis was lying? He still kept the radio transmission going because he says to him, "Okay, I was hoping that you knew," or something like that, as if to draw it out more tension or whatever.
Yeah.
Was that intent? Ooh, I like this shit a lot.
We'll see. So what else? We're missing something.
Totally.
What is that scene?
If I knew what it was, I would tell you. Well, okay, so there's more shit happening, right? So as we left last episode, they were driving away or something, right? Frank's bleeding, has an arrow in him, all that stuff. So we have to fix that problem.
So also, so they're driving away, and he tells Frank, I buried him, but he didn't bury him.
He says, I took care of it. He'll get a proper burial. But Gunnar said, bury me out here.
Yeah.
Not in Arlington or wherever they're going to bury him or something like that. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue that comes up between them.
I thought he said he got a proper burial.
I thought it was he'll get, but either way.
Because the way Frank said thank you, I don't think he would have said thank you to he'll get.
I don't know.
I don't know. We could easily check that again. We won't, though.
But it's going to come up so either it's considered a done deal and it never gets brought up again, or the whole thing where he's like, Frank, listen, you were fucking clinging to life. I didn't want to stress you out, all right? And he's like, no, it's important. I promised him. You know what a promise means? And it'll be like that, and it'll be a real thing. I don't know. So I could go 50-50 on that, depending on the
But with that call,
thing.
which is weird for Micro to do, I think it was out of character calling the cops for that, because now the cops 100% know Frank's alive. They've been able to compare his blood against his old blood.
Yeah, that's the chinks in the armor.
You'd think that he would not have done something like that. Not that MI6 or whoever the fuck got sent couldn't just check the blood, because they know Frank's alive. But I think having the secret army know he's alive versus the real people know he's alive, that's too much heat.
No, and they have no way, they could have worked in okay, hey, didn't you tell Madani you were alive with your face? And then he's like, yeah, and he's like, well, there's been no it's not in her official report. She must be keeping it a secret. But why? Okay, and then he knows that he can call her and tell some reason, right? Because you're absolutely right. He called the local cops to be like, oh, there's a dead hunter out here. I don't know, fuck, and left or whatever. And it's what? Because that that brings all these eyeballs from all these people. Or you're like, oh no, something like that. Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
And it was out of character, but I took it to be like, each of the two people are like influencing each other. Where at first, like Micro had to tell Punisher, go talk to Billy. Whereas Punisher guy is all about family and Marines and all that shit. By the way, that scene where he was like, "I have two families" or whatever, and I had Maria, whatever, and the kids, and I had my unit,
Yeah.
and like it's like
to tell you that sometimes I didn't prefer laying with the shit in the blood to be with my kids. I can't live on that.
I have to make peace with that.
Yeah, make peace with that.
He said like, "I love that shit," or whatever. The way he said that, even some of these like incidental little lines where I'm like, "Fuck, oh, that's great."
Yeah.
I was a Marine, and I love that shit. Whatever. You're like, damn, son.
I put that shit on everything.
I put that shit on everything. Apply directly to the forehead. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. That's certainly the big points of this
Well,
episode.
so the arrow gets pushed through. It's a whole fucking
I like that.
ordeal and all that stuff.
When I looked at that arrow, like, whenever I think of those things, where like you hear that all the time. You got to push it through. When you pull it out, you're ripping a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like the amount of damage seems roughly equal.
It doesn't make any sense for that part of the body or something like that.
Because the arrow wasn't like one of those ones where it's like a flat and like a point.
Right.
It was like a diamond. So I'm like, either way it goes, wouldn't it be ripping the exact same amount?
Yeah, they kind of just expected us to go with that.
Well, I guess you wouldn't know what the head looked like when it's inside somebody either.
That's true. I feel like when they really do this, though, they cut more in around the one hole and they pull it out better. They don't just cut on the other end, especially like I could see like a limb or like somewhere else on the body, but he had to he has to cut through all the back muscles or something like that to or move them out of the way. I don't know how bodies work, but that struck me as like, oh shit, whatever, when I saw it or something.
Yeah, I'm like I think you're irreparably damaged now.
Like, that seems bad, but
you'll
he's
be out of
fine.
commission for months.
He's fine. No, he's fine now. He's running
100%.
around. Yeah, he's fucking juggling. He's totally fine. He's not wounded forever. But no, I like that Micro had to go get Curtis, that he was pumping him full of antibiotics, hoping that would work. And Curtis is like, the fuck's wrong with you? Let's fix this. I like Curtis calling Micro out. Being like, this is your fault. This is you fucking idiot. Look at him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit.
I like that the most damage he got, though, was from his friend.
What?
The infection, the shot with the arrow.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. No, it's good times. Right? Because he's fucking invincible or whatever. Yeah. No, so he'll be fine. I mean, I don't know why these shows don't work in a passage of time. It would even help to like explain stuff sometimes besides the heat.
It could be a few weeks.
Well, but like exactly, right? Like why not rearrange it a little bit and then have time pass, and that's how that explains Medina's injuries, that explains Frank's injuries, and then it gives more time for their like relationship to blossom and for Micro and his
everything
stuff to
has
go.
to be in 1 week.
Yeah, that's weird, right? It seems like a Marvel Netflix thing where it all has to happen in like 3 or 4 days, or else.
Especially when you add in travel, it's like, well, where did you go? Where did he come from?
Oh, because they revealed that shit's in like Kentucky or whatever the fuck. That's a long drive. It's a long drive with like an IV in your van going through tolls, passing traffic checkpoints and all this other bullshit. What the fuck? Like, but again, fine with it. But yes,
it all plays, but it's a little interesting.
Why not just say it was 2 weeks later? Just put a little text card on the bottom and then show me the exact same footage. I'd be like, okay, yeah. It's time to go talk to your wife now. I'm sorry about it. Where have you been? I had an accident. You have a lot. It works totally. It works exactly fine. It gives more time to show little bullying scenes and bullshit with the kids coming off the rails and all that stuff.
Yeah, it would have been nice. But it's okay. You got anything else you want to mention in this episode?
No, I mean the main ending is Billy's a bad guy.
Yeah, Billy at least appears to be a bad guy.
Well, okay, so something's up with Billy. Is the
next episode starts? Ending. He shoots Agent Orange.
Oh, it picks up right in the car.
Yeah,
this is for Frank. And shoots him or whatever. No, I think Agent Orange might end up killing Billy for not carrying out orders or for standing up to him or something like that, and that just pushes Frank over the edge of punishing, and he goes hog wild.
Maybe.
And takes care of business.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for predictions right now.
All right, guys, so that was this episode of The Punisher. Don't Die in a Fire, and we'll see you next time.